All right, so here it is. If you're a runner or just beginning to learn how to run, you have to stretch. You have to stretch before, you might even have to stretch during, and you also have to stretch after, but you're probably thinking, what do I actually do when it comes to stretching? So watch this video and find out everything you need to know. Hey everybody, what's happening? I'm Coach Brian, strength coach here at criticalbench.com, and I'm also a functional movement specialist as well as a triathlon coach. And we have the privilege of living in sunny Clearwater, Florida. And you know what that means? Running. Everybody runs around here because we have weather that's conducive for the sport of running. Now let's say you're a beginner to running and you have no idea where to even start. Well, one place to start is actually at a running store to get some good running equipment. But what happens after that? You've got the clothes, you've got the shoes, you've got the mindset, maybe saying, hey, I need to go start running. What does that actually look like? That actually looks like training. So whether you're a couch to 5K-er, whether you're already an accomplished marathoner, it doesn't matter where you are on the level of running, certain things have to take place in order to have a successful running hobby or career. And that talks about stretching. We know stretching is beneficial, but there's so many variables that go into stretching that you need to know what to do and how to do it and when you should be doing it. So let's start with the top, beginners. I'm going to spend maybe about a minute talking to you, and then we'll move to just recreational athletes and also the advanced athletes. So for all those beginners out there, now if you're advanced, don't fast forward this, because even if you've been running for 20 years, you still can learn something from this, what I'm about to share with you. So beginners, you have to stretch. You have to stretch before you run, maybe even during the run, but you also have to stretch after you run. And now what about days off that you don't run? Should you stretch on those days? Well, you're in luck, because I'm gonna share all that information with you in the next few seconds. Again, this is a whole topic of that could take weeks to explain, but I'm gonna condense it so fast and into such tangible material that you can use right now immediately. So beginners, there's a few things that you need to pay attention to. Chances are, if you're a beginner, you have tight hips. So what you need to do is to release your hip flexors. You need to stretch out the muscles associated with running. Hip flexors, quadriceps, glutes, calves, hamstrings, upper body. Wait, that's your entire body, right? So hopefully you got that clear enough that you need to stretch out your entire body, especially your hip flexors. So just pretend I'm at my desk, whatever, typing away. I'm, sitting on the bus or subway, texting away. Look at my hips. They're constricted. They're tight. They need to be loosened up. So your number one stretch you need to go to is this one right here. Half meal stretch. So before you go out for a run, you should always be doing dynamic stretching. I'm not talking 30 seconds of holding this. That's a static stretch. Dynamic stretching is this. 1, 2, 3. Back out. 1, 2, 3. Going through range of motion over short periods of time. Now you can incorporate, certain things like a twist. It's dynamic. It's movement-oriented stretching, where static is you're just holding it for a fixed period of time. So let's say we've got our running shoes on. We're going to go run for 3 miles. This is what you should be doing 3 minutes before you go for a run. Now the advanced athletes, you can do the same exact stretches, because these stretches are known to effectively stretch out your hips. Dynamic stretching always before you run. It doesn't have to be running, it could be cycling, it could be swimming, it could be weightlifting, basketball. You always have to do dynamic stretches before you engage in your activity. So this is your number one stretch you go to. When you're going through repetitions, 3 to 5 seconds of pulsing, 5 repetitions per side, move to the other side, you're good to go. Another stretch you want to get ready for is your quadricep stretch. Now this stretch, kind of the same position, just get that back foot up on the bench here. This is gonna be a little bit intimidating, especially if you've got known tightness, or maybe you're beginning to partake in running. You should, instead of doing this exercise right here, even though this feels great and I recommend it, just hold on to something. Grab, it could be a tree, light post, this stretch right here, okay? Still hitting those quadriceps, but not as intense on those hip flexors. Again, dynamic movement is all we're focusing on right now. So dynamic would be something like this. Quick reps. I'm only holding it maybe a couple seconds, 5 seconds at a time. Same thing on the other side, okay? Watch this, you can even do some butt kicks. Especially for all those sprinters out there, those fast-paced, those short-distance athletes, you got to get your muscle and your energy systems wide awake in order for explosive movements. So dynamic movement doesn't just have to be dynamic stretches like this. Hey, this is still stretching out those quads, but in a much faster pace. Okay, so we've got hip flexors, we've got quads, calves. Calves are always good to stretch out. So all you need to do is elevate your toes somehow, lean into it, and that's pretty much it. You know, stretch them out a little bit, get some fresh blood into that area, even do some light, some toe jumps, things like this. Hamstrings, same thing. One leg down or one leg in front, keep that knee straight, toes up, reach down, right there. Again, quick dynamic movements. Now if you want to change it up a little bit, I recommend this one, the leg sweeps. Keep your toes flexed. That just means your toes are kind of close to the body where the pointed is pointing away. Do some leg sweeps. These are all dynamic stretches, dynamic movement that's gonna help open the body up, preventing injuries, getting good blood flow circulation going to these muscle groups. I'm already huffing and puffing a little bit. Another stretch you could throw in there is a piriformis stretch. This is gonna be a little more tough, especially if you've got tight hips. Sitting with my legs crossed, but now I'm pushing on this knee, trying to open out. I'm prying that knee open right here. Again, you don't have to use all of these stretches, even though I recommend it. The main thing is take 3 minutes, take 5 minutes before you run and do these stretches. So now you heard me talk about the upper body. What should we do for the upper body? Right here, Hercules pose, open up, squeeze those shoulder blades back. Because when you run, you want to make sure your chest is open, your shoulder blades are back, and you've got a nice rhythm right here. You're not hunched over, crossing over the body, because now you're getting inefficient movement. So open it up. You can even do some crisscrosses. Again, there really isn't an exact formula to follow, long as you're opening up the entire body. Muscle groups, shoulders, chest, back, arms. Even do some twisting with the core. Even though you don't want to twist when you run, because you want to be in this fixed movement here. So look, right here. If I'm twisting, I'm wasting energy in my core. My core is now actually gonna have to do more work to stabilize. And over miles and miles of doing this, your core is gonna fatigue, chest is gonna collapse, now you're going here. Now your hips are shortened, now you're gonna start developing leg pain. So keep your chest up, run right here, run with your arms, run with your shoulders. You don't want this to move, you want it to stabilize and do what it's intended to do. Okay, that's a whole bunch of information. We still got a few minutes left, so bear with me. So let's say you're in a run, you got your warm-up done, but now you're just getting some knee pain. You got to take a seat for a minute. You got that runner's knee, as everybody calls it. The knee pain might be on top, might be on the side, but it's pain associated with running. What do you need to do? Okay, real quick. If you've got knee pain on your your left side, you're usually, not always, but usually that quadricep is tight. That could be a result from a shortened or inhibited opposite antagonistic muscle. So bear with me. Left knee hurts, left quad is tight. That means right hamstring is gonna be tight. So what do you need to do? Go to the opposite leg, antagonistic muscle. That would be stretch out the hamstring, stretch out the quad, you're good to go. So we're running along right here. Okay, knee hurts, bam. I'm just getting this weird pinch thing in my knee. Don't go to this knee and just do some of these. Go to the opposite hamstring. Get your toe up, bring your toes back to you. Sit up tall, lean into it. And then real quick, bend the knee, reach down. This one you're allowed to cave in the back a little bit. Hold that for 10, 15 seconds. It's okay to do static stretching when you're in the middle of a run, because right now, over time, when you run, that hamstring is just getting shortened and shortened and shortened. Before you know it, it can't fully extend. So what you need to do is get that belly of that hamstring to really open up. Hold it there. All right, now go back to that quad. You can do some of these, 10, 15, 20 seconds. Or if you have time or a place to do it, drop down on the ground right there, stretch out that quad. If you need to do it again, that's fine. Maybe 2-3 reps of that sequence back and forth. and you might even need to just wake up and shake out that muscle right here, even palpate it a little bit. That should take away the knee pain, not permanently, but enough for you to finish your run or hopefully make it back to where your original place where you started from. So runner's knee, but that's also a thing that you just have to work on chronically. You have to work on it all the time. Foam rolling, you have to foam roll. You have to get some kind of massage stick in there. Really grind out that tight quad and also that tight hamstring. Because if you know anything about the human body, right side affects the left side affects the right side, lower body affects the upper body. You get the idea. So you really need to focus on tight muscles associated with just poor mechanics, poor technique, laziness, whatever it is. Address the known issues. And that's not enough, go see a physical therapist, go see a strength coach, go see a chiropractor, because there might be an underlying issue. All right, last but not least, let's talk about after you run. After you run, your body's hurting, you're tired, you're sweating, things just don't feel right. So what do? You stretch. This is when you do your static stretching, and I'm guilty of it. Sometimes when you're like, hey, I just finished an hour run, what I want to do now is just sit, cool off, and do nothing. That's not always the best case, because if you know anything about stretching post-exercise, that's really when good things happen to the body. So instead of jumping in the pool, even though that's what we do here in Florida, take 5 minutes. Even cut your run short, 5 minutes, stretch. And you know all those stretches I showed you in the beginning of this video? Do the same stretches, but just hold them for time. So we know when we run, quadriceps are dominant, hip flexors, hamstrings, glutes, calves. Stretch out all those muscle groups, even the upper body. Do some shoulder rolls, but hold everything for time. 15 to 30 seconds is adequate enough per stretch. I would recommend holding everything at least 2 times. So let's just pretend we just ran 5 miles. I'm tired, I'm sweating, but I'm gonna hold this stretch for 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, switch to the other side. 15 to 30 seconds, you get the idea. Go back to the other side. That completes your second rep or second set, whatever you wanna call it. Hamstrings, quad stretch here, some of that. So don't forget about the calves, make sure that you crank on them hard, just because they do get abused a lot when they run. And the unfortunate thing is, after you run, what are you gonna do? You're gonna continue walking. You might even do some yard work or have to climb stairs or go back to work. So the calves really don't get a chance to recover and rest. So really take your time to stretch out those calves as much as you possibly can. So on days off, do the same stretches. Better yet, why don't you check out one of our stretching routines that we've already created for you to follow along with, or just to take some information and apply it to foam rolling techniques or self-massage or PNF type of stretching. In case you didn't know, we've been around for a long time, and we have over 2,500 videos on our YouTube channel here. So what I need you to do, first of all, is subscribe to our channel, but click the notification bell next to the subscribe button, just so you stay up to date with what we've got. And I think that's pretty much it on the topic of stretching for running. So that's it. I want to give you something free to use to help you with your stretching. It's a free report that I wrote. It's called Why Stretching Won't Make You Flexible. Now, the title is totally deceiving, but once you read the report, you're going to kind of be opened up to a whole different theory or philosophy of stretching. You got to get it. Click this box right here, give us your email, and we'll send you the free PDF right now. Subscribe to us by clicking here. Check out these other stretching videos that I know you're going to find helpful as well. Hey, I'm Coach Brian. I appreciate you watching. Have an awesome day, and we will see you soon.